Let's get started. I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I hope I can be heard and my screen can be seen. I had a complaint that it was blurry in the last video, so I had to really go ahead to make sure that I'm using the highest resolution here so it can be properly seen. The way we do this is that we start from the weekly time frame, then we'll go down to the 15 minutes time frame. We're looking for two things here. We're looking for two things basically. We're looking to take swing trades and day trades. Swing trades are trades. I look for swing trades on the 1 hour time frame. Sometimes I still go down to the 15 minutes time frame to confirm a swing trade that I'm taking. And I look for day trades from 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and below. And each of the trade, I target a minimum risk reward of 3. Are we good? So let's start. I'm going to clear up some things I drew last week. So I have a clean chart for this week. Okay. So this is the US dollar index. US dollar index closely correlates with the Euro USD. So if you're trading Euro USD, closely inversely correlates rather with Euro USD. So if you're trading Euro USD, even GBP USD, you might want to also look at um, the dollar index. But before we start, let's quickly take a look at Forex Factory. We had quite a number of news yesterday that really messed up the market, right? From the beginning of the week to the last day of the week, which is Friday, NFP, we had it and it really messed up charts. But sometimes they actually messed it up in my favor when I was trading crypto. Also, this is Monday. We hope to see purely price action. I don't see any high impact news. Even on Tuesday, the high impact news I might have is coming on Wednesday, which is the PPI. So Monday, Tuesday, we are good. So back to the dollar index. I'm going to start from the weekly time frame, then analyze this down to the daily time frame. Okay. So where are we with the dollar index? Now, what I do here is to mark our trading range for the week. So this has been my trading range for a long time. This candle here and this candle here. Mind you, each of this candle represents price action in a week. They represent what happens in 1 week. So I'm not changing much here. We've been having a lot of rejections. All these since a very long week. Rejection, signaling that man, we might actually go ahead and hit this zone below here because there's a lot of rejection coming from the dollars is finding it hard to climb. So we'll actually go down to hit we'll actually go lower. So I'm going to move this to this particular point. On the weekly time frame, this will be my range. I'm on a trade between here and here. So that hasn't really changed much. Then on the daily time frame, what do we have? We've been having lots of consolidation, and this is happening at the other block we have here. If you look here, we have had a break of structure, which suggests that this break of structure we have here suggests that we should move higher. Suggests that we should actually respect this other block we have here, this one here, and move higher. But you can see we have tapped so much into it that it looks as if we are going to take it out and probably actually go lower. Because usually if you have like one or two taps, it should go higher. But now we are not having that. Rather, we're trying to break the structure even lower. So then if we look internally here, this is a liquidity sweep here, and this is an order block on this time frame. Now, I will only consider this an order block if we actually have a proper break of structure to this side. Then I can say, okay, it seems that we're going to go lower, but this is actually not a proper break of structure. It's a liquidity sweep here. And even at that, we still have an open order at this point, which means that price can actually tap into this zone, or we can use this zone as our target. This will now take me down to the 4-hour time frame. This is where I start looking for, again, I'm looking for the direction of the dollars, and I'm looking to see how I can trade it the opposite way when we get to the Euro USD. So what do we have here? We have, again, we have not had a break of structure. If I refine this on the 4 hours, this is a 4-hour supply zone that I can target. This is another supply zone here. I'm just going to mark that out. It's another 4-hour supply zone. Then if we go lower here, we have the price action we have here on the 4 hours is pretty efficient. This tells me that once we have a break of this, if you have a break of this level here, again, this is not a break, this is a sweep. If you have a break of this level here, a proper break, then we should go down to attack this zone. We should go lower. Then we should go lower to start looking at this zone. I'm going to draw it out now so you see it. This is another demand zone over here. So this is a 4-hour demand zone. If we attack this low with a break of structure, then we know that we're trading much lower to attack this particular zone. On the 4 hours. So the way I see it is I see us either taking an order from here, or we go higher to take it from here. Okay, but we're going to investigate more now. So to investigate more, I'm going to go down to the 1-hour time frame. This is where I actually start looking for trades. On the 1 hour, what can we see? You can see all the sweeps we thought we have here is actually, it's actually a proper break of structure on the 1 hour. So we have a high. This low here was actually broken. So yes, I'm going to take this out and take this out. So this tells me that we are going lower. So all we need is to pick an order above and go lower. Now, if you look at this, it means that we can actually refine this. See what I mean? We can actually refine this. If you look at here, what the gap we saw on the 4 hour is an efficient zone on the 1 hour. So this becomes my block here. So I'm going to this becomes my so this becomes my 1 hour supply zone now. So what I'm looking forward to is a possible this, then down. What does this mean? Because I have an efficient zone above here, I have an efficient zone all this way. There is no gap to be filled. So I'm looking forward to see an upward movement into this zone. Because we had a break of structure here, and we can now go and attack this particular zone. So this is the dollar movement. It means that for Euro USD, we should see it go down, then go up. Now there's another zone above here that it's worthy to look at. This zone above here, this 4-hour supply zone. Okay, how am I going to look at it? First, I have a gap here that is not filled. So these gaps are valid. So what do I mean? It means that we can actually have an upward movement into this particular zone before going down. So therefore, if I'm meant to take a trade from this region, then we should wait for a confirmation. I should wait for a confirmation. This is a confirmation. If I see this, then I am happy to take the trade from here to go lower. So this is making a high, then breaking it below, then I cannot go. If I see this on the lower time frame, let's say 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, then I'm happy to short it from here. The reason why I say this is because we have an open demand zone here on the 4 hours. Even if I on the 4 hours here, then we have another so the supply zone rather on the 4 hours, even supply zone on the 1 hour here and here. So this is the whole of this area is a little messy. So this is to me, or as we can see here, this is a giant um, space to be filled. So price may likely still come into this zone this way before going down this way. So again, I'll be happy to take a short position from here. From here, I'll wait for a confirmation because of the open, um, because of the imbalance here and order that has not been filled here. So this is for the dollar index. So if the dollar index is moving up, we should expect euro to move down. If dollar index is moving down, we should expect euro USD to move up. So with this now, we can now head over to Euro USD, GBP USD to see what we can do. Now, Euro USD and GBP USD behave somewhat alike. Uh, so it's after the dollar index, you look at both of them, then you now look at the one that gives you a very good entry and you now take that trade based on the entry. This is my analysis for last week. This two zone didn't hold. This is the one that I held here, and I wasn't trading this definitely. I didn't trade during the news hour. I wanted a break here to trade this. The break didn't happen, so that didn't happen as well. So I'm going to go ahead and clear these charts, then start over again from the 1 hour, so you can see how we walk down to the lower time frame. Okay, I'm going to explain this what this means. The dollar sign you're seeing here. So before we get there, I didn't actually go down to the lower time frame. So this is for swing trade. Let's look at day trades. I start looking for day trades on the 15 minutes. So what is a trade we can take today? Okay. So for today's trade, this is what I have in mind. If this is the Asian zone, and below the Asian zone here, we have a demand zone here. So it's a 15 minutes demand zone. Okay. And this is where I want to target first. So this is possibly what I'll be looking for to trade today is to take a long position from this point, put stop loss here, then we're going to target this particular high here, this particular zone on the on the 15 minutes. This particular supply is on the 15 minutes. So this is something like this. We have split a tap down here to take our order. They will move up to take profit. This is a 4-hour risk reward ratio, and this is, of course, we can't trade this. This is on the dollar index. So it means that on euro, we should expect something like this to go down like this. So I'm not targeting this zone here. I'm just saying you that on the euro and GJ, I should be expecting to take a short position this way. So, but that said, I'm still going to start from the very high time frame and analyze that. Yes, it correlates, but it's not always a perfect correlation. So on the weekly time frame, what do we have? Our trading range hasn't changed. This is an imbalance that we have here for we've had this for a very long time. This particular imbalance here, I use both imbalance and fair value gap interchangeably because they're basically the same thing. Some people define it differently, but they're basically the same thing. Now, that imbalance has a demand zone. So this is a demand zone. I just like the purple color, okay? Above here. So I believe this is going to be filled one day, right? But that is not our focus right now. So if you look at here, we have a very tight price action here. So this is where we're interested in. Remind you, each candle represents price action in 1 week. You can see that compared to previous week, we've been having really upward movement, but this has been maintaining a very tight range. So what can I do? And if you look at, we have been having a lot of rejection, which means this price actually wants to push higher. So here, this is a rejection, like that. All these candles here, all these, here are just rejections. So we are going higher. So where do I target? I want to target the top of this particular range. This range, I want to target the top. So uh, my trading levels for this week is to one, clear out this high. So I like it to be, I like to use the dashed line to mark my weekly range. And I'm still going to just take here as my lower, my low for the week. What this simply is saying is that I'm looking to take trades within this range. All right, for this week. Daily time frame, to further analyze this, you can see very much that it's almost the opposite of what we had. Like we have over here a we have a supply zone that we have been constantly attacking. Now, if you look here, I had drawn this before because this is actually a breakout structure this way. So, which actually means that we expect price to, since we had a breakout structure, to attack this zone, into this zone and go lower. But we have not seen that. Price hasn't done that. price has been ranging in this zone, attacking this demand, this supply zone, which likely spells that we might have it break it. Which spells that we might have it break it. Okay. So let's go further. Again, we have a zone here. Um, these are all liquidity sweep. It is not break of structure. And we have a zone that we have this block here and a gap here that has not been filled. I wouldn't label it anything until we investigate further. So now I am on the 4 hours. What can I see on the 4 hours? I'm interested in this range, upper boundary, lower boundary. Now, if we look at here, there is still not a break of structure, so I'm not going to label it that. It still looks like a liquidity sweep, and I can refine this particular zone to this point. And call this my 4 hour demand zone. Okay. Now we have another demand zone here at this particular low here, still on the 4 hours. So what this tells me is that if we have this can hold to go higher, or we break this zone, this way to actually go higher. These are the two possibilities I'm seeing here. Okay. But then again, if you look at this way, we have an other block here that we are just tapping into on the 4 hours. So this is a 4 hour supply zone. Four-hour supply zone. Okay, so we just tap into it, which actually means that we might actually go, we might go lower. Now, if I'm meant to consider this, it simply means that I should wait for a confirmation entry, just the way I talked about it on the higher time frame. So this will be where I'll be considering an entry from at this point. So an entry from. So let's go to the 1 hour and now look for swing trades, possible swing trade. So this shows us that we have hit, we are on a break of structure on the 1 hour. But the point of concern we're going to have is that we have actually hit a 4 hour supply zone, which means that this might just keep going down. Okay, so we might just have keep going down. But then again, if you look at here, this is the last break we have here. So we need to actually break this to go lower. If I'm to short this, then I want a break down this way. I should want a breakdown this way. If I'm to short this, let me remove some of this stuff. If I'm to short this, this is the last swing, then I should want probably a break into this zone before I can consider shorting to this particular zone. this way. Okay, so hold on, let me just go to the dollar index again and make some observation. Then I will want a confirmation to go higher. If I don't get a confirmation, it means that we are likely going to break further into this zone. Okay, to go higher. Okay, so from the 1 hour zone, from the 1 hour for swing trades, I'm not seeing clarity now on where to enter this trade from, because yes, we have a break of structure here. But a break of structure here, you can see that. But we're coming from from a supply zone, and that supply zone, if you check the opposite end, we have a break of structure to the downside here. And if you come here and look above here, we have a lot of efficient zones here. Okay, so if this is broken, actually, if we see this break here, then it shows that we're going to go much higher to attack this particular zone. So in the 1 hour, I'm not seeing clarity on where to, like, in the short time, to where to take this trade from. That is why I analyze both Euro USD and GBP USD to see the one where I will see clarity from. Now, if you don't see clarity, if you don't find clarity on your trades, you possibly just don't take it once you see it really clear. But that said, I'm still going to go down to the 15 minutes to see what we can actually trade here. Let's see what we can trade here. So what do we have here? Now, we have some sort of confirmation entry at this point. What do I mean? If this zone is meant to be respected, then I should expect a confirmation like this, breaks this, then this. So this would be my entry at this point. At this point, where are you? Here. So we have on the 15 minutes, you can see we have something like that. We have an upward movement, then we came lower, hit higher again, came lower, hit higher, then we broke it all the way down this way. Okay, which tells me that I should be looking to take a short position from the last block we have here. From this last block we have here, we actually have two blocks, and I'll mark them out. This is a first possibility. One is we hit this zone, um, short position from here to go lower to this point, okay, or even target this very low here. Another possibility is if we go deeper to this side, we have a break of structure at this point here. This is a break of structure. Then the zone, the demand, the supply zone that broke this structure is actually this one here. Is actually this supply zone here that broke this structure downwards. So I am happy to place a limit order from this point actually. Put my stop loss here, and I'll be happy to target this particular low here. So this is a risk reward ratio of 3.45. So what do I expect? So I expect the Asian high to be cleared, tap into this zone, then come down to clear the Asian low into this block. So this is a trade I'll be happy to take today. If this fails, then this is one. This will be my next play. So this will be my first trade for the day. I'm going to drop this on in the Telegram group as well as on Discord once we're done with this live. This should be the Asian liquidity play that we'll have here today. That we're going to have today. Asian liquidity system we're going to have today. If you look, you will see that it's almost like opposite to what I'm expecting on from the dollar index. Just like I said, down, up, and this is what I expect on Euro USD, and it is confirmed from when we actually look at the analysis on Euro USD. Now let's look at GU, and I'm going to do the same thing. Let me clear out what we have, because the reason why I like looking at both of them is you might find clarity in one. You might find more clear trades in one. So again, I'm going to start from the weekly time frame, then choose a range. This is really simple. Am I having network issues? Someone asked if I'm in Japan. No, I'm not in Japan. I'm in Lagos actually. Okay, what do we have? Same thing. We've tapped into the other block here. As a matter of fact, we have swept this other block from this block here. You can see that we have cleared it, swept it basically, attacked it. So if we sweep into this block, then this simply says that GU is going higher. This is the zone we're attacking now, because it's again similar to Euro USD. We have a gap here, a fair value gap at this point. I'm just going to remove this. This simply tells me that since we have broken this top, all here is efficient, meaning that the next place we're attacking is this particular line that I just drew down. So that is what I have. That's what is in mind with regards to GJ. So, but each of these candle represents weekly time frame. Okay. So what I'll be interested is in for this week is to see how we can attack this particular high. We might not get there by the end of this week. What I'm seeing how we can attack this high, and this is the low that we made last week. So I'll just make it my lower range because it really dropped down, possibly because of the plenty news we saw last week. Again, I like to make this dashed line for my weekly targets. That said, we'll move straight to the daily time frame to start refining this. And we can see quickly that I'm below that particular weekly target I'm looking at. I have an order block here on the daily time frame. So this is a daily demand zone. I want to make this tighter and also make this tighter. We also have above here a demand zone here. which I won't be so interested in. We have a break of structure here. Then here, when the chart came lower, we didn't quite break structure. Rather, we had equal lows, which simply signifies liquidity. On the higher time frame, we are seeing possibilities of this chart going higher, while going lower, like on daily, I'm also seeing possibility of this going lower. Okay, because I have equal low liquidity. Clearly, we'll have an order block at this end. We have a breakout structure here, which shows that we're meant to go higher. But of course, if you're going higher, you need to come down to pick order. Then above here, we have a supply zone. Below here, we have a demand zone. Here, we also have equal, relatively equal high. Okay. So equal highs and relatively equal high, I just consider them as liquidity. And liquidity is simply saying that we have price can pull to that region. Well, I would love it if we saw a proper tap into this zone. Then maybe we can go and attack this liquidity that is here. But that didn't happen. Rather, we are just between here with the liquidity below and with an order block below, and here with the liquidity here and a supply is on above here. So I'm going to just go straight to the 4 hours to see what we can trade here. Again, weekly target is simply here or here. So it's actually on the 4 hours that I start marking out some things. Now, if I'm meant to mark out this zone, so this is a zone here. This is a supply zone, 4 hour supply zone. This supply zone has been swept. And because it's swept, we can go lower. Again, it's not breakout structure, it's a liquidity sweep. Liquidity sweep on the short time frame sometimes leads to the order block below not being respected. So let me mark out the other block below. So we have one here. It's quite messy. We have one here. Okay, this is not one. This is actually an efficient. It's it's very tiny. So this is a more clear one here. We have one here. So this is my 4 hour demand zone. And I have another 4 hour. I have another demand zone here on the 4 hour. Again, mark everything out and start making your decisions after everything has been marked out. It's another 4 hour demand zone. Okay. So over here, we have efficient price action. We don't have any open demand here. And above it, we have liquidity that is meant to be swept. Then here, this is the last order block we're having on the 4 hour. So this is an open area. So this is possibly the last demand we're having here. The last supply zone rather we have here. And efficient price action to be get to this zone. Okay. All right. So this is similar to what we have with GU. This point and this point are possibly areas to go higher from. But the problem is that we've not had a breakout structure. What we have is just a liquidity sweep. That said, I'm going to go down lower to the 1 hour. to see, can I do some refining and can we make this clearer? Can we make this clearer? Let me see. So on the 1 hour, I think I'm seeing basically the same thing. Possible area to go higher from is here. Okay. Possible area to go higher from is here. This is another one here. But in the short term, we have um, basically swept here. We have an efficient price action. We should move higher. Here, actually, we are now operating from an order block here on the 1 hour. So for the short term, I'm not also seeing clarity here to trade. 15 minutes time frame now. What can we find here on the 15 minutes? We have a tap in here. We still have a 15 minutes order block down here. Now, what we had here is a sweep. Okay. After that sweep, we have a confirmation entry that I always talk about, an upward movement this way, up, down, went higher, came lower, came this way, even broke it lower again. So I think we might see this to go lower here, similar to what we saw on the other time frame. Next thing I'll do is to mark out my um, order block. So this is not an order block because we don't have a gap here. This is where we have the order block, this one lower here. So this is the first order block we have on the 15 minutes time frame. Do we have another one? We don't have another one here. So this is a possible entry for me. For this time frame, I'm looking at a possible entry this way. I'm looking at a possible short position still from here, target the high in this case. Then we can go ahead and target this particular zone. A 3.5 risk reward ratio is what I'm looking at here. Once I'm done with this live, probably in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to drop this on Discord and also in the Telegram group. So another coin another pair I want to look at is actually UJ. Okay, this is actually playing out the way I expect it to play out, and also GBP JPY. This has been was the currency that brought me a lot of wins last week because I didn't trade much of the Euro US and GBP USD because of the plenty news we had with regards to that currency. But this GJ, I would say is brought me some income. So I'm going to analyze this after this, but we have to move faster because we don't have time. Maybe when I'm done with um, crypto, I can come back to maybe GJ or UJ or UJ. But let's go to crypto. We're doing Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB. Out of these three currencies, I had most win last week with BNB. So what I do is I just analyze these coins. The ones that meet my entry criteria is the one I end up taking. You might analyze and not find an entry, you're not going to take it. It's as simple as that. Okay, but don't just force trades. Take trades that that aligns to what you have envisaged. If you take trades and start playing it, and if you force trade and start praying that it plays out, it will not. It will go against you. Sometimes you might miss trade. You will be like, okay, next one I won't miss it, and you just force a trade. It is what leads to the losses that you have in trading. Okay, so I'm going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and BNB, and we'll see where we have always see opportunities to take an entry. Starting with Bitcoin, the same thing I do I'm just going to go ahead and clear this, all the thing I drew last week to give us a clean chart. And I start from the daily on crypto. I like to start from the daily on crypto. So it's daily on Bitcoin. So this is what I've been analyzing. So we have been having higher highs and higher lows. So we have a high, a low, a high, probably a low. We should expect this movement. Okay. Now, but it doesn't mean we might come as low as this. We can actually, because if you look at this is the last high we have. After this high, we had this particular high here. And that is the last break of structure that we have on the very high time frame. Okay. So this is the demand zone. You can see this particular one. This is the demand zone here. And there are two demand zones actually. We have this one. We have this zone here. We also have this zone here. So these are the demand zone that led to this break. So we might see a movement. We might see an upward movement from this demand zone here. We could also see a movement from this zone here. So Bitcoin can come as low as 98,000 within the 100K zone. They'll move higher from there. Now, even if we come as low as this, if Bitcoin, so I'm still bullish on Bitcoin at this two level. Even if we come as low as this to go higher, as low as $80,000 Bitcoin, Bitcoin is still bullish. The only time I will start seeing Bitcoin as bearish, that okay, it's like we're not in the bear season, is when we go below $75,000 or $74,000. That's when I'll be like, okay, forget it. If it comes down to as low as $74,000, then it has a last push for people to sell. Then we can start going lower for Bitcoin, unless Bitcoin becomes gold, because gold is. I think the one strategy for gold is just buy, and for just gold is just going higher and higher, right? If you try to short gold, man, it's crazy. You're gonna make losses. Gold is upward only. I wish Bitcoin becomes like that. Be like the more like the next gold that keeps going higher, then we can just be long in it. But right now, it still has some ups and downs. Maybe Bitcoin truly becomes the digital gold. So with the whole ETF thing going on, we might see that happen. So that is by the way. Let's now go deeper to see where we look for trades for this week. Okay, so from this demand zone we have here, this particular one, this is the last demand zone we have. So this demand zone, we are having some kind of price action from this zone. Okay, so we had a low. We've had price tap into that zone, came up, tap into it again, make equal high. So I'm expecting maybe a movement up this way, or we break it. And when we break it, we'll now start looking to go lower to attack this next demand zone that is here. So I think I'm just going to call this. Do I have it here? This is the um, daily demand zone. Now, 4-hour time frame. Okay, still on the daily demand zone. If we start breaking this high, then this is the next demand. So if this is going to go lower, we might want to take orders from this point. This is another supply zone on the daily. Let's see if it has been taken. It has not been taken. So if we're going to go lower, we might see something like this to go lower if we're going to go lower. So this is a zone to take note of. I'm going to refine a lot of them as we go lower so the chart doesn't look too messy. Okay. So maybe what I would do is just use a line here to say it's a possible target. So what do we have? If you check, this is the last swing we have, this one. And what we made here is actually equal, relatively equal highs. And when you see relatively equal highs, it's simply liquidity zone. If I extend it to this zone, no, it doesn't match this zone. So this is relatively equal highs. We haven't broken it. Okay, so our upward movement is not yet assured, but it looks like at least we should sweep this particular zone since um, support and resistance traders will be seeing this as a resistance zone. I want to short from here. So we can attack this to take it from here again. Okay, but if you look on this zone, if you look at this movement from here down, because again, we know that I've taken it out, but this area is a demand zone from this. If you go this way, it's a demand zone. Okay, and the the confirmation entry we have seen. If you traded with me last week, you see it. So these are multiple entries that we took to go higher this way. So we're making higher highs and higher lows since then, and the whole of this side has no order block here. So these are more like all efficient zone on the 4 hours that we can see. There are no order block. They are efficient zone, which means that we can go higher to start looking to attack this zone. The last high we had is this. This is the last high before this next high. So this is our break of structure, right? So if you have a break of structure, you want to tap into a demand zone, which is this one here, 4 hour demand zone, which is where we are going up from, which is where we are going up from. Okay, so we can now go deeper, lower to actually investigate more. This will now take me to the 1 hour time frame. So the 1 hour time frame, yes, we tap into this other block here, and we so this is the low. Let's see, low, high. So this is the last high we're having here. Trying to make sense of this. So we have a low, a high. The last low we have is this. So this is the zone we are attacking. So on this 1 hour time frame, here is a zone to be concerned about. Now, we are not yet sure of movement upward or downward. Yes, we're coming from another block, which gives us, which tell us where we should go higher. But you can see here, yes, this is Sunday. This is Sunday, but there are lots of price action going on here. Okay, so for Bitcoin, I think I will have to wait. Wait for what, you may ask? I'll wait for this zone to be broken. So I'm going to set an alert on this zone. So an alert, where are you? So I'm putting an alert on this zone. So what do I expect to happen? If I see this zone broken with a candle body closure, then I'm happy to go to take a long position from this particular side. If it's not broken, if it's just doing this, then we are not sure. This can actually come lower. This can come lower to this zone, this particular zone. So there are two plays that I have here. I'm just going to remove this particular one. So this one is my 1 hour zone. So 1 hour demand zone here. Okay. So what do I expect for Bitcoin? One is that we can actually tap into this zone to go higher. Because if we break it, then we are going much, much lower. Okay? Because this is the last demand zone I'm seeing. So we can tap into this zone to go higher. Something like this. A long position from this point. We target the low here. And I want to attack this high, which is 7R risk to reward ratio. This is the first target, right? This is the first play I'm looking at for Bitcoin. The second one is this. The second possibility is this, is to wait for this. I think this is the one that is more short, kind of, is to wait for this zone to be taken out. Once this zone is taken out, then we have more probability of going higher. Okay. Now, if this zone is taken out and leaves an order block here, because this is an order block, right? It's a demand zone, order block demand zone. So when I say order block, I can mean a supply zone and a demand zone. If this zone is taken out and leaves a demand zone here, then I'll want to take the trade from that demand zone to go higher. Okay. If this is taken out as well, but that doesn't leave a demand zone here, then this will now be, this is a last demand zone I want to look out for to take a trade from. So this is the plan that I have for Bitcoin for a swing trade. This can happen today, can happen tomorrow. So swing trade may take some time to hit my entry, but it's what I have. Now let's go to 15 minutes time frame to see if we can see a swing trade take. Sorry, to see if we can see a day trade to take. Now on the daily time frame, we have somewhat that's already happening here. So we have, let's see. So I will be looking for similar thing even on daily time frame. So we have a low here, and um, we have this. So this is a messy price action basically. If you know what I know with regards to breakout structures and price action, maybe it will become clearer to you, and it's going to take a long time to explain. But basically, we have some price action upward. So I'm still going to consider two ranges. One is this range here above here, and this range below here. So I want a break out of this zone before I can take a trade on this lower time frame. So what do I mean? If I have a break above, yes, I can look for trades to go higher. Then if you have a break below this range, I can look for trades within here, order block to go lower into this zone, because this is zone I expect it to go higher from. So possible trades are this one and this one here. This one to go lower if we have a break here, and this one to go short if we have a break here. And finally, we have this one as a swing trade to take. So this is that for Bitcoin. You just have to wait. If you sometimes you try to force a trade, when you frustrate is when you have losing trade. So sometimes you just have to wait. As a matter of fact, where I usually look for crypto, where I look for my, I don't actually look for my entries at the 30 minutes time frame, because I see the other blocks there working better than the other blocks we have on the 15 minutes time frame. Sometimes the other blocks there are not hit, but the 30 minutes they're always hit. Just like we saw this one here, this one has been hit. It didn't make that high. Is seems to be going higher. But from the way I'm seeing looking at this, um, it seems we are going higher, but we missed an entry. We had a touch here. Anyways, I wouldn't take this because again, I want to see a break of this high before I can take any trade for Bitcoin. I'm moving straight to Ethereum, and Ethereum, I'm doing the same thing. Removing all the drawing, starting from the daily time frame to see where we can take trade from. When we look at Ethereum on the lower time frame, let's go to 30 minutes again before we come back to the 1 hour. We have Ethereum seems to be stalling here. You can see no movement. Yes, this is, I know crypto usually don't move on Saturdays. For most coins don't move on Saturdays. But on Sundays, which was yesterday, it's meant to start picking up steam, but the market has just been ranging all through. The market has ranged all through from Friday. It has just been a range. So looking at this, even without going to the higher time frame, I'm looking for a break out of this zone. A break out of this zone will now determine, are we going higher or are we going lower? Are we going higher or lower? A break out of this zone is what is going to determine it. So going back to the higher time frame and seeing and looking at the price action of crypto. Now, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and the rest of them, they are somewhat, they correlate somewhat directly. Their correlation is really tight. Unlike Forex, that's not everything correlates, but cryptocurrencies somewhat really directly correlates, especially the top currencies. Sometimes some move faster than the others. So that is why you have to look at multiple currencies and lately I like to trade the higher ones. Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Solana. Those are the ones I like to trade because they have more liquidity, of course. So you look at those ones and see, some may give you bigger move, some will give you smaller moves. So just look at all of them and see the one that gives me possibility, the best possibility for a faster move. Ethereum gave me some last week, but BNB gave me the most of that move last week. So on the daily time frame, this is Ethereum. I think this should be a celebration from the Ethereum community because we did move past the old all-time high. Okay, which is great for Ethereum community, but it's just slightly above, nothing much. And since then, we have been stalling. Now, if you look at this, let's closely look at what happened before we hit that zone. This is the last high we have. This is a break of structure. Okay, tightly. This break of structure, we are in this demand zone, and we have been installing in this demand zone. We're not having. If you look at the price action here, it's not as if we're having multiple rejections. Yes, we have some rejection above, we have rejection below. This is more like indecision. The whole of this area is being a bunch of indecision. Okay, but price is beginning to tighten, and it's beginning to tighten in this other block, right? So it's likely that we're going to have an explosive move from Ethereum that is going to go ahead and hit break this all-time high that he made before, or we can have an explosive move downwards to go for the other block we have, to target this other block we have here on the daily time frame. But I am sharing for Ethereum to see it go higher. So possible move is that we attack this zone here once we are out of this particular range. We're going to refine further to see the ones that is likely happening. So possible move is one. We go and attack this zone here. I like to have it dashed. Another one is that we take out this all-time high that we have here. Ethereum has been stalling, but I'm actually looking forward to this week, to having it really move this week because of the plenty store we are having. So since we have an order block here, what we're going to look for Ethereum is for signs that is going to leave here, is for price action that suggests that it's going to move higher. Is when we see it, we now say, okay, we're going higher. If not, we should go lower. So with that said, we'll move to 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame, this still stands as our order block. Okay. And currently now, it's quite messy. It's quite a messy price action. Looking at this from face value, I would say this is the last high we have. Is both an high, a high is also still a bunch of liquidity here. So we have a bunch of liquidity lying here. Okay. A bunch of liquidity is lying at this very high here. So for a movement to the upside, I'm actually going to place an alert here because this would be a very good trade if this plays out. I'm going to place an alert on this line. So the possible movements we should see is if we have a break above here, then we're going to attack here. Then we're going to go and hit that all-time high again. If this is what's going to happen, that is just it. If we have this zone broken with a proper body candle body, then we want to look for an order block here, a demand zone that will take us higher to take out this all-time high. The other possibility is if we look at this low here, we also have a bunch of liquidity lying here. If we have this low taken out, then we want to go lower to this point. So if you're trading, if you are doing swing trading, we're going to go lower. This is more like this will take time to play out because 24 hours. Okay. It's more like you're just waiting. I'm also going to put an alert here. So we're just waiting to see the one that is taking out. If this one is taking out, we want to go lower. If this one is taking out, we want to go higher. Now let's go to 1 hour and see if you can refine it more, possibly to the 15 minutes to see if you can find day trade for today for Ethereum. I'm going to remove this to make it much clearer. I'm going to also remove this ones and this ones. Okay. I think I'll be happy to also call this liquidity. Okay. On the 1 hour, so I'm basically going to do the same thing, but now we're looking at a smaller time frame. All right. On the 1 hour for a swing trade, I'm still going to look at from this top here to this bottom here. Let me use the parallel to mark it out. From this top here to this bottom here. And still also look for the same thing because we cannot trade this. I'm still looking for the same thing, a break out of this zone. I want to look for trades to take to go higher. Maybe target this particular point here. This will be my entry here. Then, if we break out of this particular zone, if we break out of this zone, then I want to go lower. But since we don't have any other block here, I'm just going to target this low here. I'll be targeting to take out this particular low here. So you can see that even on the highest, even on the lower time frame, we want to break out of the range. We want to break out of the range. If I go lower, say to 30 minutes, that's where I'm going to stop. 30 minutes. I'm still looking forward to breaking out of the range. If not, we're going to have a messy. We'll not be playing by luck if we don't see a break out of this range. So this is this for Ethereum. For Bitcoin, um, again, out of the range because we're having a lot of range. For Ethereum, this is it. So the last crypto I'm looking at is BNB. Okay. Um, I just want to look at this quickly. I didn't get the most out of this, so I just got a 3.2 R out of this, but this went ahead to even do as high as, woo, attack this zone and did as high as 11x. So I've gotten an 11x here, but I didn't get that. But if you look at this, I just want to show some things. You see me draw this line. You may think is trend line to trade lower, but what I just saw is simply a trend line liquidity. So if its trend line is hit, I do this using what they call it on the high time frame using line charts. It may hit here, hit here, hit here. I just knew that okay, it's gonna be broken. And this is what when it hit here, maybe people thought that it's gonna but it got broken and trend lines are always got broken. So you can use trend line. I made a video on trend line, you can go and watch it. Once we have the first touch, second touch, like first two touch, and you take the third touch, I wouldn't consider the fourth touch on a trend line. And in fact, as a matter of fact, the first two touch are the very close one I look at. If I take this touch, I'm done. But I actually don't trade trend line anymore. That is one way to trade trend lines. So with that, I'm going to clear this as well. Then we start from the daily time frame and see how we can analyze down and see where BNB is going. BNB, in my own opinion, is one of the most underrated coin. Over the years, it has performed really, really well. Yes, Ethereum has the big players there, but BNB, man, I don't. It's a coin you won't go wrong with. You won't go wrong with. Even before Ethereum hit its all-time high, it has hit and passed its all-time high. And just even some few days ago, it did that again, and I think it's gonna hit that one more time. So, looking at this, we went higher. Maybe this will now become the gold, like because it's just going higher. So, looking at this, where are we with this? This is the last retracement we have. This is a break of structure at this point. Then after that break of structure, we have a demand zone here. Why is this a demand zone? A demand zone on the daily. Why is it a demand zone? Because we have this, a fair value gap. So why have a fair value gap? Well, we have a break of structure, we have a fair value gap. That's an imbalance. So this is a demand zone. So what I would have expected if you are doing, trading on the daily, which I don't trade on a daily, is to take a long position from this point here. We can target this low and target this high. But I wouldn't take this trade because it's not giving me up to a 3 risk reward. My trades, I must be looking forward to a risk reward of 3 to take it. So here's 2.77. Is a 3 if it's going to go as high as this. Another point is to target this particular low here. This low is a possibility, yes, which will now give us target this high. This will now give us a 4 hour. But it is to take weeks to play out because this is daily candle. I'm just marking it out as a point that we can target. A point to take note of. So beside that, on the daily, all these are efficient zone. You can see that. So what will be my range to look out for? I'm going to look out for to target this particular point. So we're going to mark it with, I'm going to look forward to target this. I'm just going to go ahead and mark it the trend line with a dash line. And this is the last stop. This is the all-time high. This is another zone we might look forward to take out. This is my trading range. This is tight because it might go higher. Okay, 4 hours. Now, what do we have on the 4 hours? This is all efficient. On the 4 hours, this is all efficient. Um, this is still a zone I want us to go and take out. Okay, but if you're looking at the 4 hours and you've been following me, it is this low. If you're going to attack here, it is this particular low, which I think the low has been taken out, but the low wasn't taken out with the candle body closure. If it was taken out with the candle body closure, then I'm happy to. So again, I want it to be taken out with a candle body closure. Then I'll be happy to short to this zone and possibly wait for what is going to happen next on the 4 hours for BNB. But here we are in an efficient zone. Since we're in an efficient zone, yes, this is actually a sweep here, and um, this is a break here. Hold on, a break. Okay, price action here. Yes, so this is a valid break. Since I'm just going to go down to the 1 hour. So what I'm trying to explain will be clearer. But before I go there, I'm just going to mark out some demand zone on the 4 hours. This is a demand zone. There are some things I want to explain here with regards to the market structure, but some candle will not make it clear. So I'll go down lower. So, but I want to mark out the 4 hour demand zone that we have here. 4 hour demand zone here. Another is a 4 hour demand zone here. Another 4 hour demand zone here. You see why it's a demand zone when we go lower. So 1 hour now. 1 hour. We're going to end this stream really soon. Once I'm done explaining this, we'll end it because it's almost 8. I just want to do 1 hour, 30 minutes. We're almost there. So why is it a demand zone? One, we had a high that broke structure here. We had a sweep, and this took here still as a demand zone from this particular point. And from there, we went high. We broke this structure to the upside here. So since we're broken structure to the upside here, it makes it positive that all this becomes break of structure. Some people get this really, really confused because if we didn't break this structure here, if we did not break this structure at this point, all these things will not be break of structure. I hope you understand. But it's because we broke it here. This is what now makes this one. This is why we consider this a break of structure. So yes, EOS. Okay. So swing trade. What can we find? Um, we have here two possible points to take trade from, and here we have even a higher time frame break or structure here. Okay. So this shows that I'm actually bullish on BNB. Possible move is one, we tap into this zone and we go higher to attack this. But we have another demand zone here, which means that we might actually break this and take it from here. I'm going to refine this 4-hour demand zone now to my one analysis is I'm going to pull of what could actually happen. So my 60 is lying here, my 79 is lying here. So these two areas still looks pretty valid. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to refine this to this point. So this is the first point I want to look at. So this is what I want to consider. My possible scenario is this: a long position from this point. BNB will target the low and we go for the high again. It's 6.44. The second possible entry is actually this. It's really tight, this one, but I'm going to leave it at here. Okay. Second possible entry is this one. So we're going long from this zone. I could target this high to be on the safe side, but this is another high to target. I could target this low rather, but this another low to target. This is going to give us a smaller risk reward. This is with a 4.9, it's going to be 4.6. So which one can you take? Trading is a game of probability. You can actually position to take. If there are reasons why you should take the first one, and there are other ways to confirm if we should take that first one. So what is the reason to take that first one? Because this is a break of structure, but this is the order block here, or the demand zone that broke this structure and eventually led to this break of structure, which makes this really, really strong. So this is the one I'll consider first. But if this one fails, I'm going to look at this particular one. Now, there are also ways if you are not confident in taking this trade right away when it gets here. I'm actually going to place a limit order now, but there are other ways to confirm is to wait for confirmation entry. Again, confirmation entry is this. We have this break higher, and if this happens in this zone, so I'm on the 30 minutes. Let's say you go to the 5 minutes when we have a tap. No. If you go to the 5 minutes and this happens on the 5 minutes, then this becomes your entry. This becomes more like telling you, okay, yes, this is going to move higher from here. So this is the analysis we have. It's already 8:03. Um, oh, we are already tapping into this zone. I think I just have to go ahead and take this, close this, and take this particular trade. This particular one. And so after the analysis, I think I just have to go and take some trade right now. I'll see you guys. Um, see you guys. Those of us on Discord, we see you. But everybody here on YouTube and Twitter and any other place, see you guys next month. Analysis like hope you gain a lot from this. If you want to learn more, just go to the description and take action there. Bye, everyone. It's time to take some trades.